Working in the development sector is an attractive option for many persons all over the world. The sector has grown exponentially, very great, especially, for example, in the northeast, northern Nigeria. The last time I counted more than 50 different NGO located only in the northeast of northern Nigeria. And for many persons, it's so rewarding. For many of us, it's so rewarding in that even at the end of the day, when you come back home so tired, you will know one thing, that you've made a difference in the life of somebody. And that's what keeps us here as Happy HR, willing to even support you because we know what it makes to make a difference in someone's life. But so many persons have also been asking the questions, how do I get into the NGO sector? What do I need to do? What degree do I need to have, especially in this very COVID time where it's so difficult for people to find a job in the NGO sector? Here I will have some of my friends, some of my colleagues who will provide some practical examples, some practical ways of how you could actually find a breakthrough career in the NGO sector. So kindly just take a seat and watch and listen to them. I'll be back.
Hi, my name is Cynthia. I'm a HR professional. I currently work with the Federation of the Red Cross as Senior HR Officer.
My name is Olufemi Agbela. I'm a medical doctor with training in public health. Currently, I work with the International Rescue Committee, which is an international humanitarian organization that is involved in the conflict management and the response to the humanitarian crisis in Borno State and some other parts of northeast Nigeria.
So I have 7 years of HR experience, out of which 6 has been in the NGO sector.
I've been working with the NGO for 5 years now. The only time I've not worked with the NGO was when I did my mandatory National Youth Service Corps.
Sometime in 2015, I saw an advert for a HR intern with Mercy Corps, and I applied for it. So my understanding was that it was really hard to get, a job in the development humanitarian sector if you don't have, an NGO experience. So I was mostly looking out for internship roles, despite the fact that I already had prior experience in other sectors. So I went through the interview stage and I got the job as the HR intern with Mercy Corps. So that's when I started my HR professional career in the NGO sector.
For me, I think it was a little bit easy because of my background. I was a Red Cross volunteer since childhood, so I had a lot of humanitarian experience too as a volunteer. So it was just a question of me looking at an opportunity to change job or to switch my job. So it was pretty easy. As a matter of fact, I remember having my interview deferred by 4 days because it was not convenient for me.
So that's quite interesting because we actually deal with a lot of volunteers. So do you think that volunteering experience can count towards getting a job?
A whole lot. Volunteer experience exposes you to a lot of skills that you will not have otherwise had when you started. Then more or less it exposes you to the modus operandi of the organization you are volunteering to. And by volunteering, you become a part of the culture of the organization. So it's easy to integrate, it's easy to come on board and to do the job better than if you never had this experience.
With regards to sorting of CVs, most times, of course, you have an evaluation criteria which guides you when you're sorting out those CVs. So aside the evaluation criteria, which of course looks at things like qualification, years of experience, your skill set, etc. I also look out for candidates' stay power. There are lots of candidates that don't stay in the organization for long. They just keep jumping from one NGO to the other. So that's actually a red flag when sorting out CVs. And I also look for candidates that have worked with the NGO sector. With those kind of candidates, it's easy for them to hit the ground running when they join. They already know what the procedures, policies are, because you'd see with most NGOs, it's basically the same thing we do.
Importantly, we look at the educational background. But of course, that's just like the starting point. It's not limited to that. Then we look at the work experience that people have. And sometimes your work experience is a function of the skills that you have acquired over time. So these are very important in analyzing a CV. But beyond the analysis, then personally at the interview level, I want to look at the confidence level of the candidates, their ability to communicate their experience, their ability to translate their experience into solutions. I also want to look at how people have learned from past mistakes. There are people who never felt there's a need to do better. So I'm I'm this kind of person that look for people who have identified their weaknesses or mistakes in the past and have used it to develop or to improve their skills.
My advice for people that don't have the NGO experience and want to join the sector, I would advise that you look for internship opportunities, volunteer opportunities, try to take online courses that are in line with what most thematic areas in humanitarian organizations do, and also network, get to meet people, ask them their experiences, and see if there's anything that will come out from there.
In no definite order, but I think to have a job in an NGO, you must be somebody who is resilient, and then you must be able to work under stress. You must have some bit of ability to analyze and forecast, and then maybe you must be able to work as a team player because it involves a team. It involves team most of the time, and then to a large extent, depending on your role, you may also need to be able to work with little or minimal supervision. Most importantly, you must be able to manage the security context very well. So there has to be a skill with security analysis and management.
So for me, I would say it takes me about 20 seconds to look at the CV, because most times, of course, in Nigeria, most HR professionals receive over 400 to 700 applications per vacancy. So within 20 seconds, I'm hoping to get what I'm looking for in terms of what I've advertised. So my advice would be that most times try and align your CV to the requirements of the job that has been advertised, because in these 20 seconds, what am I looking for? A program officer. For example, does this person have program officer experience? Has he worked in an NGO? Does this person have a degree, a master's degree? Has this person taken any online course in line with this position that has been advertised? So if within the 20 seconds I can get a glimpse of everything I'm looking for, yes, you would get to the short list and the long list immediately. However, if your CV is full of junk or so many things that are not related to the job that has been advertised, most times it's just a waste of time, and your CVs will be one of those CVs that would take about 2 seconds, and you just scroll to the next because it's not interesting.
You apply for those that are relevant to your passion. So it's important that you can communicate. In the NGO, you deal with clients who are people, and sometimes the communication is a large chunk of the job. So you must have a good communication skills, whether in English or in local language. And then your written skills are also important. You write reports, you write concept notes, and all of that's also important. I think you must be able to have good interpersonal relationship, and this especially entails diversity. You must be open to diversity. You tend to work with people who are from different backgrounds and religious and faiths that are different from yours, and you must be compassionate. You work with people who have gone through a lot, so you must be able to work with some level of sympathy and compassion for the beneficiaries. I think those are very fundamental.
So now you've just triggered something, which is going to be the last question in this time of the COVID pandemic.
Okay.
So if you have the priorities, the recruitment process has changed in a way. These days we do a lot of online, and then we are requiring people who have remote management skills. Now, as a manager, and still, I mean, looking at COVID, what would you advise people to have in addition to what I've just mentioned, remote management skills, the ability to be able to use the this over-the-top tools? Is there anything you think people need to know?
Yes. So that means the recruitment process is going digital.
Yes.
More than before, and that means more importantly, you must be able to use your tools. That means your phone, your laptops, because these are very important. Then you must be familiar with this our working tools, our what do you call it? The Teams,
the
Skype
for business,
because
the over the top conversation tools.
Yeah, these are the templates through which interviews are held this time. You must have an official email. It's not enough to be on WhatsApp or something. So the official email is a means of communication for most organizations. So it's simple and it's cheap to have. And I think very importantly, you should have an address. An address whereby if you need to exchange correspondence, you can get that done. And this is very important because of you should have a camcorder on your phone. There are times when you need to have a document printed out and scanned back. So with your phone, you can just scan it, and closely related to that, your digital signature. You can put your document in the PDF format and sign on your system without necessarily bringing it out. So those are some of the things I can bring out at the top of my fingers.
So my advice to applicants during COVID-19 is to keep applying. I think COVID is here to stay. It's the new normal. Develop yourself, especially you have to be up to date in terms of how to work remotely, how to use software, Microsoft Zoom, Microsoft Teams. Most interviews are no longer face to face. You have to have a Zoom call. For instance, I've had an interview where the applicant was unable to turn on his camera. It was quite embarrassing, to see that someone who was qualified did not have that knowledge of turning on and off his video camera. So yes, develop yourself. Still take up online courses. Learn how to work remotely. Have an e-signature because paper is eliminated these days. So most things will be done online. Get to know how to sign online, send documents, scan back.
And then most importantly, I think we should also understand that it's a competitive world and it's even more competitive than ever. So I've seen people apply for a job and because you are not called up, you think you have been cheated. No, it's not always about cheating. There are people who have been on the job and who have more experience and who get selected maybe ahead of you. So don't give up, keep trying.
Do not relent. Keep applying. Try as much as possible to align your CVs to the adverts, that's the job description that was advertised. Write a very good cover letter and ensure that you proofread your applications before submitting. You get to see most applications where someone applying for a job role in XYZ organization has a cover letter that is written ABCD organization. So ensure that you proofread your CV and cover letter. Ensure that your CV is in line with the job description that was advertised. Keep applying. Don't let rejection emails demotivate you. You definitely still see rejection emails, but don't relent. Keep applying and sure.
So last one. Do you have any last thing, anything that probably felt that we left out that you want to tell people who are actually applying for roles in the NGO sector?
Well, I think there are quite a couple of things we can talk about, but Importantly, I think the motive must be right. For instance, the interviewer here hired me in my previous role, and it was to start a project in a very difficult working environment. And one significant thing about that is that I didn't know how much I was going to earn. Even
Did
when
I hire you or Victor hired you?
even when I took the job. So, but most importantly, I took up the job to have that experience in that hard to reach setting. And so it was not about the salary. And I think that was helpful when I got to the field and you look at the context, how volatile, the security, and then the stress load. So I think with the right motive, it's easier to get jobs. You will not apply for every job.
I hope you enjoyed that. So ultimately, from what we have heard, finding a job in an NGO is like finding a job in any other industry. First, you need to know what you're looking for. You need to know the area you're looking for. And to make sure, I'm sure you must have heard my friend, one of them, Dr. Femi is in the humanitarian sectors, and then NA is in the development sector. I'll talk about that maybe some other time in some other video. But the first thing you need to first is know what you are looking for. Second, apply for what you're looking for. One way to start probably will have to be in volunteering. There are a couple of organizations online which provide you with the opportunity to be able to volunteer. I'll have to talk about that one in another video again. And so thank you so much for your time. And then remember always, this is the happiest HR you've ever met. I'm always happy to help. If you have any questions, if you have anything you want me to talk about, just link that on and I will deal with it. Thank you.